Hello guys, Nige here. A little bit dark in this, sorry about that. I'm in the garage as you can see, and we're going to start painting these brackets. And here they are, all sandblasted and everything. And one thing I am going to do before I start, it's not very good, I'm sorry. One thing I'm going to do before I start is make sure I clean up all the edges. Because these things are stamped, here's one before I've done it. Because these things are stamped out, the edges are very sharp on the corners here. And what you need to do is just, you don't need to radius them, you just need to take the sharp edge off. There's a term used in engineering called remove sharp edges, often referred to in drawings RSE, and or they just call it a break edge. And basically all it is just taking that sharp corner off, because the trouble is, with this sharp corner here, as you can see, what will happen is the paint will kind of pull away from the corners. Now I'm going to be using Corroless paint from Arkwright, and basically they tell you to stripe all edges first, stripe coat. So basically what they're telling you, if you're going to spray it or brush it, whatever, just go around the edges first, and then when you paint the whole thing you end up with like a double layer. And it's just to make sure, because that's where the rust will start. And if you look at your parts, or if you go back to my earlier video, you'll see that these brackets, this is the which one is this? This is the one where the bonnet stay goes on the left hand side, sorry, on the right hand side, on the driver's side if you like. And when you look at a video I put up earlier, you'll see that all the edges of this are all rusty, and that's where the rust all started. So I'm going to go on doing that. All I'm using is a simple file and just basically running along the edge like so, just to take the sharp edge off. And then I've got a piece of, I think this is like 60 grit, 60 or maybe even 40 grit emery paper, and I'm just going to take it just like this, just taking the edge off, and that's all you're looking for, is like a polished edge like that. Can't see it, can you, because the lighting's so bad out here, but basically that's all I'm doing. So I'll get this all done and then we'll move on to some paint. There we go then guys, there's the brackets all sandblasted and all the edges all polished up. I had to get the little Dremel out on these. These are this bit here that I'm holding. These are these supports that go up diagonally in front of your radiator. They were very rusty at the top end. You can see here the pitting underneath where there's been sandblasted. So yeah, basically all around this end here, they needed a hell of a lot of cleanup. They were really rough, probably why they rusted. So yeah, you can't. You know, you can't leave these sharp edges because you just won't get a good coat, guys. So and also I think what we'll find is over the whole vehicle, wherever there's a weld, I think the prep after welding is not good, so that's why there's rust there. And then as we go through, this is the bracket for the air box. These brackets here, these three, this one I'm holding and these two here, they actually, this one goes in the center of the dash, and this one up behind your radio, and this one, these two here, they actually support the bottom of your dash, and they're not painted at all. They're just like, I don't know, 20 gauge steel, no preparation, no nothing. So yeah, if you've got a leak or whatever, God help you. This one, in fact, I've got a tiny leak, as you know, which is why I started doing all this, and this was rusty on the inside. So yeah, it's worth checking these out, guys. And also the dash bar has got a very, very thin coat of black paint on it, and there's surface rust on mine just from being in the atmosphere. These here, these two brackets here, this one, they support the inner wing. This is for your bonnet switch for your alarm if you're a right-hand drive. This is these are the brackets, this one here and this one here. They hold the radiator and the bonnet support and everything. And then here's obviously this is the power steering mount, and then there's the other part of the power steering mount there. And then this is the bracket that holds your heater valve up at the top, and if you're left-hand drive, that there holds your alarm for your bonnet. As I say, if you're right-hand drive, that one there does the job. So so there we go. So let's get some paint on these things. Okay, so you can see now I've got my parts all hanging up here, and I've got frames with all the parts. I don't like spraying parts when they're hung up, but you know, I've got no choice really. I can't sort of put them down because they've got to be painted all over. And I want to paint them all over and then give them another coat tomorrow. This Corroless S Primer, it's a rust killing primer, and although I've sandblasted it, it's still suitable to be used on sandblasted metal, so they do recommend 2 coats. So And the thing is, as the temperature gets cooler, today it's about 8 degrees, you can spray this stuff as low as 2 degrees, as long as you don't have dew on the parts. Obviously moisture will affect it. So yeah, so I can paint them, so there's no problem with the temperature and stuff. I need to degrease them. I've got some panel wipe, I'm just going to wipe them all over before I do any painting. Now I do have a compressor and all the spraying gear and everything, but for this job, because these are just brackets, I'm going to use this. Now I bought this a few years ago. This is an Earlex sprayer by Earlex. I think this is called the 5500 or something. It's absolutely brilliant. I think they're designed for doing houses, you know, like emulsion and kitchens and stuff. But I was recommended this when I bought my Jeep, and for spraying stuff where you're not after an amazing finish, I think these things are amazing. I wouldn't recommend spraying a car and getting a good finish. You know, you need your compressor for that. But really, they are really, really good. And the way they work, it's just like, I'll take this out here. You can see you've got the gun here, and it's like a vacuum hose almost, but it obviously blows air rather than sucks. So you've constantly got air coming out the front of the gun, and then when you pull the trigger back, you get paint. The other good thing is with this gun, with the nozzle all tightened up, you have your nozzle like that, and that gives you your normal fan, vertical, and then you can turn it like that, and you get a horizontal fan, which is really handy for going up and down things. And then when you hold it like that, 45 degrees, you get a centered sort of round pattern. So yeah, really, really good tool. I love it a bit. It's just a massive needle. I'm not sure what size the needle is. Look, it says on here. Take the cap off. Yeah, it's a 2mm needle. It's huge. But it's, as it says, it's high velocity, low pressure. So it's not. You know, it probably wouldn't even, if I turn it on, it probably wouldn't even blow the phone over if it's a stand. It sounds like a vacuum, so you're not getting the compressor running and pissing off your neighbours and stuff. And it's really, really good. The only trouble is it's a bottom suction gun. I would rather gravity feed. I may look and see if I can get a gravity feed gun for it, because I'd much rather have gravity. So much easier to clean afterwards and everything. But you can see this is the normal sort of gun. Get out of the way pipe. You unlock it, turn it, and out it comes, and it's got like a Teflon lined pot as well. So yeah, shame about the gun, but when I've used it, I've been really, really happy with it. So that's what I'm going to use for this. Okay, so I've got my, you can see here, here's the paint I'm using. This is Corroless S. It's a rust inhibitor stabilizer, and apparently you can spray this on rusty metal where you've just removed all the scale, and the rust will not come back. Apparently it continues to work for years. Let's try it. Now what I've done, I've got a piece here, piece of scrap steel. It's not a piece of scrap steel. This is actually, for anyone who's into their cars, this is actually the front roll cage leg mount off of the Jonathan Palmer, Richard Gamble Marcos that I rebuilt many years ago. Yeah, this is the front floor plate off the original. Well, had an aluminium roll cage when we bought it. Then we put a steel roll cage in it, and then the floor plate had to be upgraded, so I actually integrated it into the chassis and didn't actually use this one. But yeah, there you go. So that's what that is, and I'm going to use this as a test piece. It's got surface rust on it, as you can see. So I'm just going to rubbed it off. I've degreased it, and I'll just give it another quick degrease in case, because I'm touching it again. There we go. So, and I'm going to put this outside in the rain, leave it outside, and see how long it lasts. So we can paint that one. I just thought I'd bring you on the camera now so you can see me mixing the paint. It's a weird colour, this one. You do have the option to get it in red, but I didn't actually ask for any particular colour, so they've just obviously sent me this one. I think one's called S1 and one's called S2. So yeah, have a look. If you really specifically want the red, make sure you order the red. But obviously it's a primer, it doesn't matter. So there we go. So I've put 200 milliliters in this pot, and they tell you on the data sheet that it should be thinned 10% for spraying. So let's see. So I've got to put in here just up to the 220. Should do us. So that's thin 10% now. And of course the beauty of this is as well, with it being a single pack paint, what you don't use can go back in the pot. As we all know, with 2 packs and stuff, you mix them up with their hardeners, that's it. Once you've mixed it, you finish. So like if all of a sudden I had an emergency now and I had to go out somewhere, I could just pour this back in the pot and come back to it tomorrow. So that's always the good thing with single pack paints, and all of these Corroless paints are single pack. I'm not trying to sell this stuff, I'm just trying to get it out there, because apparently if you watch the I can't remember what it's called now, it's Trailer Fitter Dave, is it? He uses this stuff and swears by it, so I thought I'd give it a go, and I thought I'd give Arkwright a shout out because they sell it. They haven't given me any discount, I haven't had any freebies or anything. In fact, I ended up having a few words with them because it took so long to get it delivered. But then when I actually read the small print, they actually said I got free delivery because it was over £50, and it says 3 to 5 days, and it was actually 6 days, I think. So there we go. So that's that all mixed up. So we'll get this in the gun and we'll do a trial spray. Right, so we've got the paint in the gun now, and here's the gun. As I said, I've got the nozzle. I'm going to put it on the 45 degrees because I want a round pattern. I don't need a fan for any of this small stuff. And I've got the airline piped in at the top here, as you can see, and below there we've got a knurled knob. And what that knob does, you screw it in and it stops the lever coming back. The more you screw it out, the more the lever can come back, and that is basically your flow control. So the air pressure is obviously constant, you can't adjust it, so the only control you've got is your flow. So obviously the thinner the paint, more is going to come out. I've got a feeling this is a little bit thick, if I'm honest, and it may not come out too well. I may have to thin it some more. But we'll see how it goes. So I'll switch it on now. I'm not wearing a mask just for this little tiny bit, but then once I get properly spraying, I will wear a mask. And one of the issues with this thing, it keeps wanting to fall over because the airline is pulling on it. So I'll just get it on. Let's have a look what sort of pattern we can get. Away there, you can see, even though the paint is fairly thick, we're getting a nice, it's almost like an aerosol can. There we go, we can get a really small, we come back and it goes quite heavy, as you can see. Okay, so, as I say, these things, bloody brilliant. Right, I'm all masked up now, as you can hear. I pulled the mask away from my face. Hello! So what we're going to do now is I'm just going to, with it in the shot, I'm going to spray this so you can see how it goes on. And then I'll turn the camera off and finish it all off. And there we go. As you can see, the paint went on quite pebble dashy, but it's kind of levelling out. So I think I'm going to thin it a little bit more. I'm going to go on and spray everything else. And we're done. So there's the gun all stripped down now, cleaning out. I wouldn't normally go this far, but I thought I'd take the nozzle off and have a look. And inside there's like quite a large chamber, obviously for the air, and that was quite congealed with paint. So obviously with this gun, every now and again, it needs to be stripped down and just flushed through properly. All I normally do is just back flush them through, and that's that. But anyway, didn't use very much paint at all. Probably about, I don't know, 120 ml for doing these. So these two bars here, you can see there's the that's the bracket for the heater control, and then we've got the little bracket there which goes behind the dash, behind the radio, and there's the one for the alarm. Then we got our little bracket there, that's the one for the and they're all lovely. So yeah, really happy with the way it's come out. If I can try and give you an image of the finish on the paint, you can see there it's got a bit of sheen to it, and that sort of orange peely finish kind of settles down a bit. But as a primer, you can see it's still wet. It's been on there for about half an hour. So yeah, and as I say, it's quite cold. It's probably gone off to about 5 or 6 degrees now. But I'll leave this in here overnight, let it go dry, and then tomorrow give it another coat. So I'm happy with that. Happy with the Corroless S, and as I say, get it from Arkwright. There's a couple of places in the country you can get it from. Yeah, nice colour as well, I think. So I'm really happy with how this has all come out. So, and I think when I come to doing the actual gloss, I think I may use conventional, that's the Earlex sprayer there. I think when I come to doing the gloss, I may use conventional, conventional gun with sort of 30 psi air pressure. So, and I need to find some way of painting these parts without hanging them. Trying to paint them while they're hanging like this, they're all moving around and stuff while you're trying to paint them. It's an absolute nightmare. So there we go, guys. That's that video on the Corroless S, and I'll do another video when I put the gloss on. Just one other thing, guys. Oh, there's the dog. Just one other thing. Don't pick up when you've got one of these guns with the bottom, the bottom cup, not gravity fed. Don't pick it up when the cup's not attached. That's what happens.